4 months from now, we will have an incredible victory, and we will begin the 4 greatest years in the history of our country. We'll very quickly make America great again.
You've been sleeping for too long, time to wake up and get strong, yeah. Wake up.
We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning, and you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning.
So because, 10 years ago, we had a global order, the liberal order. Then this order was repeatedly attacked, not only from outside, also from the inside, even from the United States, which was the architect, to a large extent, of this order, with the election of Donald Trump, which says, I don't care about any kind of global order. I only care about my own nation.
Today, an indictment was unsealed, charging Donald J. Trump with felony violations of our national security laws, as well as participating in a conspiracy to obstruct justice.
Because together we can truly make America great again for all Americans. So I want to just tell you what a great honor this is. I want to thank you. I will not let you down. America's future will be bigger, better, bolder, richer, safer, and stronger than it has ever been before. God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you very much.
Good evening, chat. Hello. How are you guys doing? The music is mixed in too loud. I'm sorry. I'll try to work on that then. So the music level is way too loud compared to Sean's normals. I'm sorry. I'll try to tone that down a little bit. I'll tone that down a little bit, chat. Thank you for the heads up on that. So, yes, it's been interesting, and welcome back to the election show. And I think it's important to talk about it because, you know what? I think it's that, but I think I should try to kind of separate it out from what we're doing normally. I don't like to try to infuse, we can infuse politics into it, but I think it needs to be its own thing. So we've got a lot to go on here. Learn to compress and normalize the audio on your own computer. Well, I can make it quieter and make it work better. That's not a problem. So anyway, there's a lot going on, chat. There's a lot we're going to have to talk about tonight. And is 2.0 back? Yes, Lainey is sleeping with her right now. Lainey's had a rough couple of days, but she's back. She's back. Is the sandwich selection show? No, chat. But we've got a lot to talk about. There's a lot to talk about right now. And is it good stuff, bad stuff? Well, I think it's a lot of issues that are out there. And, some of the things we're going to talk about tonight, okay, they sound great, but there's going to be downsides. But let's get off first to the first thing. Tyson or Paul? Oh, buddy, I'm Iron Mike all the way. Iron Mike all the way. All I can say is Jake Paul better put his fucking boots on because it's going to be rough for him. I mean, you just got to get caught with Tyson once, and that's it. Hopefully that beard protects him. So, regardless, here we go. Andrew Valentine says the temples of war finally happening. No, but we're getting there. Like, we're starting to hear things. And like I said, when we get to the shadow government part, that's a big concern. It's a big concern. So let's get to what's going on out in Pennsylvania. And this centers around, well, not only just the issues of the Senate race there, but the presidential race. And this is all filtering on Bucks County, Pennsylvania. Now, what's happened? So, if you guys aren't aware, there have been recounting of votes in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. And that's starting to become an issue of what's going to happen here. Because this is a big deal because this could affect a lot. This could affect a lot of races. It's the county north of Philadelphia, if you guys are not aware. And we'll bring up the map here just so you guys can see what we're talking about. It's not Philly itself. Let me bring it up here. Where is it? There we go. Bucks County. So if you guys have never seen the state of Pennsylvania, we're doing the map time on the map, on the map, on the map. There's a great state of Pennsylvania. If you go in, you can see Philadelphia. And then from there, this is Bucks County. So here's Philadelphia, and here is Bucks County. So it's kind of on the suburbs of Philly. When you look at the maps of how everything looked, obviously it's a county that went red. And it went red by the slimmest of margins. It went red by the slimmest of margins. By less than 300 votes. That's a lot. That's a lot. Well, the Amish right, this is not an Amish county. It's a very, very wealthy county, though. Yes, it is. Yeah, it's not a lot of votes. It's not a lot of votes. But in the meantime, it brings up issues of, well, what's going to happen? Well, things are starting to go, chat. Things are starting to go. And from here, this is the Bucks County Board of Commissioners, the county commissioners, which I don't understand. And this is maybe because I don't understand Pennsylvania law. The county commissioners out there apparently have the authority to engage in a recount, order a recount. So here we go. This is them ordering a recount. They want to recount illegal ballots that were not properly sent in, that didn't comply with the rules. And it was a 2-to-1 vote. And it looks like we're going to start having some warfare or lawfare going on. So here we go. And here's them discussing it. Here's them discussing it.
We reject all three categories of these ballots.
Your motion is to reject or dismiss the challenges in this category in front of you?
Correct, yep.
Not going to second that, mostly because I think we all know that precedent by a court doesn't matter anymore in this country, and people violate laws anytime they want. So for me, if I violate this law, it's because I want a court to pay attention to it.
We reject all three categories of.
So there you go. They're basically saying whatever, we do what we won't, which, yeah. Now, this is going to become more critical, not for Trump, but for the race for Senate. Yes, they're talking about the Pennsylvania Supreme Court. Exactly. And we're now getting to the point of lawsuits. So the Pennsylvania U.S. Senate candidate, Dave McCormick, who is the presumptive winner at this point because Bob Casey is not conceded. He's appealing the decision by the Bucks County Board of, it's the Board of Elections, not the Board of Commissioners. That's why I was like reading that wrong. I don't know why they said it on there, but that was my fault for being an idiot and reading that. Although, because they call them commissioners, it's weird. I don't know how they're labeling it. But either way, I don't think they should have the vote on that. So the decision is to count 405 undated or misdated mail-in ballots. And that's a problem. And once again, if you can't fucking comply with the terms, what fucking good is it? What good is it if these people won't comply? It's a vote. You're not flying the space shuttle. Yeah, it's to where this is. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Last week they had to file a suit against the Philadelphia Board of Elections and 3 of its commissioners. Now, there's an issue. There is an automatic recount being done for the Senate race. And if you guys thought Trump and Kamala was close, the margins for the Senate race are less than 0.5%. It is razor thin right now. And at this point, it's only a 0.4%, 0.4% lead. So there's nothing wrong with having a triggered recount by law. That's not the issue here. But it's about what's going on. Once counties have finished their current counts, they can start the recounts. And you have to start that no later than November 20th. The recount must be completed by noon on the 26th. And the reports must be given on the 27th. And the results of the recount will not be done until the 27th. And it's going to cost about $1 million to do it. Now, why is this the issue here? Well, that's what's going to happen. Yes, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Yeah, it's like 25,000 votes. And, that counts, 400 votes. And here's the thing, 400 votes in one county, it's not a big deal. 400 votes in a bunch of counties, or, you add it up very quickly. It can get there. It doesn't take much to get to what you need there. There's 67 counties in Pennsylvania, chat. There are 67 counties. So think about it. You don't need to find 1,000 votes everywhere. You need to find a couple here, couple here, couple here, couple there. Remember, a flood is made of many raindrops. You don't need to find them all at once. You just need to find a bunch of them. Ariel says $1 million. That doesn't surprise me because you're going to have to pay people to sit there and do this. Even though you're going to have a lot of them, it's just run the tabulator again. What does the machine say? Okay. And then you have to count all the provisional ballots. So like I said, for my example here in Ohio, my address is correct on the Board of Elections. I received a mail-in ballot at my address. I haven't changed my address in years. Yet when I went to go in to vote, they said there was something fucky with my address. They sent out a notice saying, hey, Sean, do you live here? And they sent it to the wrong fucking place. But because there was all this hijinks and because it was all weird, I had to vote provisionally. So I have a paper ballot. Those aren't counted right away. The provisional ballots are always counted last because you might not need them and it's a waste of time. Because then you have to figure out if this person's valid to vote anyway. So it's going to take a little while. They're going to have to go through all these ballots by hand. It's going to take a lot of people involved, and it's going to go from there. And Mike says, yeah, looking at Bucks County's voting results, 400 votes wouldn't have changed any race. It's not the point, though. It's 400 votes times 67. However many votes are out there. I mean, you could find a lot of votes. Are there 30,000 bad votes out there in Pennsylvania? I guarantee you there's that many. I guarantee you it's out there. So, right now, it's just Bucks County. And if Bucks County succeeds, other counties will follow suit probably. And remember, you don't need all of them. Pittsburgh and Philly and, you don't have to have everybody in this to be involved. In cases 373 per county. Yep, but you don't even need that because Philly might find them all. I don't know. Yeah, finding the votes led to RICO charges previously. So, yeah, remember, it's all strategic. This is lawfare, guys. People are posturing and positioning. We're getting to the point where things are about to, I told you guys, things are going to fucking jump off. Things are about to kick off. We're about to as the Joker says, and here we go. We're at that point. We're at that point where it's about to just blow up. That's why things have been quiet. Nobody's given up. They've been marshaling resources. They've been preparing. They've been getting ready. So get ready. You're going to start Mark Elias. We're going to start seeing his ass jump into things. Don't you worry. He ain't forgot. It's just like Wayne growing heat. Oh, he ain't forgot about you. No, he hasn't. Now, there are problems here, though, because changing Pennsylvania alone doesn't change the outcome of the presidential campaign. But you change Pennsylvania, you challenge Arizona. That could change things. More importantly, you're changing the Senate right now. McCormick would be a very reliable Republican senator for Trump. Bob Casey's Democrat. Whatever they could do to tip the scales and reset the field, they will. So, yeah, Kamala already conceded, sure. But here's the thing, Dornan. Let's say it turns out it was correct that Kamala really didn't lose. Let's spitball here about that idea. Let's say that happened. Let's say it turns out she never really lost. She would want to come back in. And do you think that those people backing her would make arguments and there's probably going to be some courts that would accept it? Sure. So it's not over till it's over. It's not over till he's fucking sworn in on January 20th. We are not there yet. Stacy says blackpilling. This is not blackpilling, chat. I'm just telling y'all, this is how the game goes. We are in the heat of battle. The battle's about to kick off. What's the option? I mean, proverbially, start loading mags. Start loading mags and stacking frags. Put your fucking, put your boots on, chat. Because it's about to go. It's about time to get down. Mike says, if you bow out, you're out. Are you willing to bet that the Pennsylvania Supreme Court would disagree with you? Or the Wisconsin Supreme Court, which is now completely Democrat controlled, would agree with you? Are you sure? Because then let's say that Kamala's in. Let's say she gets declared the winner of a state. And they declare she won. Now you've got that elector shit going down again with slates of electors. You're making arguments, but you can't guarantee me. I mean, it's not an official thing. And even if it was, let's say it turns out you were wrong. I mean, I'm just saying there's no givesy backsies. That's all I'm trying to tell you. This is far from over. And you have to have the balls to make these legal arguments that Mark Elias is going to make. So, no, they're doing what they got to do. Like I said, they're getting ready to fight. They're going to fight. And they will also be the definition of hypocrisy. But they're going to do it. Yeah, the battle's blackpilling, but hey, guys, I'm not going to lie to you. It's about that time. Far from over. Yes. Yeah, Al Gore conceded. Very good example. Analytical T says, are you saying Kamala won legit? Really? No. But I don't know what's going to happen. What kind of bullshit are we going to see before January 6th? Like, think about all the shit that happened in 2020. Now, put it on the other side. Do you think they're just going to give up? You think they're just going to go home? You think they're just going to walk away and go, aw, shucks? There ain't no way in hell. Ain't no way in hell they're going to do that. Ain't no way in hell they're going to do it. Would Penn flipping enough? No. I mean, that could be the start. Remember, just that one domino. I'm not black-pilled either, but I'm just telling you guys, the commies are plotting. They're plotting and scheming. We'd better be ready to stomp them out. I'm just telling you the fight's not over. It's not over till January 20th. This is a new phase in the war. And this is a new phase of the campaign. You got victory. Now you have to secure the victory. I think that's going to be the thing going forward. As we have more and more razor-thin elections, it's going to be about fortifying and securing your position. Great, you captured an objective. Now you have to defend it against a counterattack. So, J-Rock, I understand that. But you think these people wouldn't try to sow discord and destabilize things if they could? They're going to try to. I'm sure the Supreme Court would step in and say, you guys are being all retarded and crush it. But think about how destabilizing these people can be in the meantime. Very destabilizing, very dangerous. It's very dangerous. So, yeah, so now they're about the Electoral College, yeah. Well, J-Rock, I'm just worried. Like, we are getting to the like these people control institutional power. Believe it or not, they do. You know, this is a way to destabilize everything. I mean, we might, maybe it gets sorted out by January, but we could have a December crisis. I mean, think about it. It could be really getting crazy. Hashtag says, how do we secure the victory? Well, it's just making sure they don't get away with it and staying on their toes and keeping our eyes peeled about all this bullshit they're going to try to do and crushing it and stomping on it. So that's all I'm trying to tell you. We're not done. Like I said, we have to stick the landing. And I think we will. I'm just telling you guys, just, calm it down. Okay. So real quick here. Richard Gruber says, hold on, I'm at a sports bar watching the punching. Well, yeah, well, they're not set to go for another hour. So, yeah. Squizguard says, jail them for blatant election fraud. Well, I mean, that could happen at some point, but that's when depending on who you have as your attorney general, that could be something that happens. Just saying. I'm just saying that could happen, chat. That could happen. Oh, it could 100% happen. It's not guaranteed yet. It's just not guaranteed. Oh, so like I said, it's never over. When you think it's over, it's never over. You just can't take it for granted. Besides, what better opportunity than to rub out communists? What better way? What better way to own them again and again and again and again? I mean, like, why not? Why not? I think it's great. Like, what's not to love? It's like Charlie Sheen. Like Charlie Sheen says, what's not to love? Oh. All right, hold on here, chat. I was fixing something I had. Oh, why did my graphic fall apart? All right, so moving on, we have some updates on the cabinet and other important positions being filled by President-elect Trump. Oh, we call him President Trump. We just call him Donnie T. I don't really know what you want to call him, but we'll do that right there. So anyway, there are some updates that he has been doing. He's been busy. But not as busy as we like to think he is. Real quick, I want to finish like super chats here. Jefferson Post says, I don't care about the rules. Sounds like a mens rea issue. I agree. And I miss the days of the hanging chat image. Yeah, I do too. If it was only that simple again. Super Iron Bob says, imagine if a conservative state bar had the cojones to disbar Elias or his affiliates in their states similar to the last time. Well, I'll tell you, man. They've set the stage. We'll see what happens. I can't promise you anything here, but it could happen. It could happen. So, with that said, here is the current situation for Trump's cabinet. Wait, why is this not working? Oh, there we go. That's why it's not working. I did the wrong one. All right, there we go. That's why it wasn't working here. So here's the current situation for Trump's cabinet. We still have, it looks like Marco Rubio is 100% going to be the Secretary of State, which I'm like, I don't know about, but whatever. Can't do anything about it. We also have new faces on the board. Matt Gaetz is Attorney General, which I don't know about, but if he's going to go out and collect scalps, I guess I'm cool with it. We'll see. We'll see how he does it. Yes, we're talking about cabinets again. We're talking about cabinets again. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Garrett. We have Tulsi Gabbard as the Director of National Intelligence. Doug Collins as a Veteran Affairs Secretary. We have Dean John Sauer. Now, if you guys know who this is the guy who argued Trump's case is both Trump, the 14th Amendment issue in front of the Supreme Court, but also Trump v. United States. This is the guy who's got that voice everybody thinks is funny. It's kind of like an RFK voice. He's going to be Solicitor General. Why is that all fucking weird? Whatever. Anyway, he is going to be Solicitor General. Bill McGinley is one of Trump's attorneys previously. He's going to be White House counsel. That is a newer thing. Kristi Noem will be Secretary of Department of Homeland Security. And then finally, the press secretary for now will be Caroline Leavitt. She was the press secretary, doing things for the Trump campaign. The DHS picture is a guy. It's not, literally. DHS right here. Secretary of DHS. Yeah, watch your dogs all. Whose mouse is pointing? It's mine. It's a problem when you're using StreamYard like that. Scalps, not sales. Yeah, well, we'll take them. Who that press secretary? Like I said, Caroline Leavitt. She is the, she was already working with Trump on the campaign. Why did Mike Pence get invited back? Oh, you're a funny guy, Andrew. You're a funny guy. You're funny. And then Tyler, the Libertarian Podcast Review. Hola. Hey, how you doing, man? Good to see you here. Matt Gaetz might be good, yeah, but it makes me wonder what's in this stupid, I couldn't find a good picture of Matt Gaetz. That's part of the problem because they don't like him in the press, so he doesn't have very good pictures. But also, he's not very photogenic. He's not very photogenic is part of the problem. But what does this ultimately mean? Guys, I don't like this Matt Gaetz report thing out of the House. I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. Yeah, Swissguard says, I don't see a lot of diversity here. Well, yeah. Yeah. Yep. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens there, though. But yeah, that's the thing here, Mike. And this is a theory that was brought up today, too, on Laid Back News. Maybe Matt Gaetz is the one that draws all the fire, and then everybody else gets in. Possible. We don't know. We don't really know. But it is something to think about. It is something to think about. And going on from here to appointments and nominations, we're now into an issue of the recess appointments that's being bandied around. And what does that actually mean we can do? And what does that mean Trump could do going forward? Have y'all now heard of recess appointments? Yeah, well, it's a thing. And the idea of recess goes back to the Senate would be in recess traditionally. Back in the 1800s, Congress was not in session that long, only a couple months at a time, just because they didn't have that much to do. So things would happen while in DC that shit had to be done. We got to appoint people so the president could nominate and do a recess appointment. And then when Congress came back, they could address it. So we'll see. We'll see, though. Recess appointments are not as but we'll explain recess appointments here, basically. Okay, chat? And so what can we do with that? And this is just some stuff I put together for you guys to understand this. So the way a recess appointment works, we're going to start with this. And I don't know why I didn't put them in the right order, but if you don't like it, blow me at the end of the day. So recess appointments take immediate effect without Senate consent, and they last until the next session of the Senate, meaning if Trump does them in 2025, they last until January 3rd of 2027. The entire 2 years. So basically till midterms. Now, well, what's recess mean? Well, okay, neither house may adjourn for more than 3 days without the consent of the other, and that's in Article 1 of the Constitution. And remember, Article 1 governs Congress and how they operate. So this brings up the question, is it only possible for the Senate to adjourn long enough to enable recess appointments when it doesn't have the consent of the House? And here's the issue. We're not sure. We're not sure what the answers are here. And we'll get to Noel Canning. So we know 10 days is good enough. But what's the bottom end? I mean, because we know 3 days is not enough. 3 days is not a long enough time. But is 4 days? 5 days? We don't have that answer yet. And we don't have that answer because the Supreme Court in NLRB versus Noel Canning broke down some rules for us with this. So Noel Canning comes to us from the issue of the National Labor Relations Board. If you guys have never read anything about them or understood how they work, the NLRB is a board with 5 people on it. Now, they aren't the end-all, be-all the way things normally work in labor issues. It starts off, they have agencies and agents and organizations and field offices, but ultimately the NLRB, the top dogs who promulgate rules, it's a 5-member board. So Noel Canning was alleged to have refused to execute a collective bargaining agreement with the labor union, which is in violation of federal law. And that's the thing. When you violate a collective bargaining agreement, it's called an unfair labor practice. And the NLRB can come after you for that. Now, when you deal with the NLRB, and this is true of some federal agencies, when you appeal their decision, the 5 guys running it, you automatically go to the Court of Appeals. There is no district court involvement. So Noel Canning was arguing, hey, look, of the 5 people on the NLRB, and it's kind of like the FCC, they're appointed at different times. 3 of the 5 were invalidly appointed by Obama during a recess. And that left the board without a quorum of lawfully appointed members. And if there's no quorum, you can't do anything. And the D.C. Circuit agreed and said, yeah, this is bullshit. The NLRB had no authority to act. Now, that doesn't mean Noel Canning wasn't violating the bargaining agreement. They're just saying, well, for right now, that doesn't count. And actually, chat, I need to step away real quick. I have to, I need to pick something up real quick. Give me 1 second. I will be right back. Okay, so getting back to this. Sorry, chat, I was looking for something. Anyway, here's what the Supreme Court said. The Senate is in session when it says it's in session. Now, that may sound counterintuitive or seem kind of like, duh. But if they say they're in session as long as they're following the rules. And the Senate has its own rules. So the Senate and the House both have their own rules of operation. And the Supreme Court doesn't get involved in those rules. Whatever its rules are, it leaves them alone. As long as it's following its rules. Recess is very vague. So it can be any recess longer than at least 3 days. But that's kind of like an inference. It's not explicitly stated, but that seems to be the gist. They also say a vacancy that happens prior to a recess is a fair game. So if if the Senate goes into recess, but there's already open seats and open offices, the president can fill them. It doesn't just have to be during the recess. And we'll talk about a pro forma session is good enough to be in session. And we'll talk about a pro forma session in a second. And Justice Scalia, Antonin Scalia actually wrote a concurrence, but he says, look, this whole thing about recess appointments is anachronistic. It's bullshit. We don't need to use it anymore. We shouldn't be doing this. This is a really bad idea. He said it should only be to vacancies that happen during the recess. And he says, you guys are way too broad. This is a bad idea. Now, some of you might be surprised in that, but that's, when you're an originalist all the way. Now, he did say that ultimately he agreed that the appointments were invalid. But now we have some issues here about this is a concurrence, so it's not the controlling opinion. So now we get back to these basics here. The whole 3 days thing, remember, you can't adjourn for more than 3 days without the consent of the other. And we'll get to pro forma. We're going to get to that in a second. And we're going to explain why that's an issue. Here. Thank you for asking that, Bite Franz. We're going to star that for a second. So, I don't know why I went back up there. So it can't adjourn for more than 3 days. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, the Senate, because of that, has not gone more than 3 days without pro forma proceedings out of fear about Noel Canning. Since 2014, the Senate has gone no more than 3 days without something happening in session. They've always been in session. Now, what's pro forma mean? If you guys have ever turned on C-SPAN and there's like the congressman from like bumfuck Iowa is serving as presiding over the House that day. It's a pro forma session. It's, everybody goes home and they let Bob come in and take over because Bob never gets to do anything. It's for the sake of appearances. They aren't really doing anything. They're just sitting there like technically filling the seat and keeping the seat warm saying, yes, I am the acting president of the Senate. The Senate is open for business and is in session. I call it to order. That's all he's doing. He's basically doing that to make sure the president can't fuck around. And that's happened since 2014, regardless of who's been in power. Yeah, 3 senators and a janitor. Yeah, that's all it is. So Bob always gets a bad rap. Okay, well, Carl. We use Carl. Yes, the phrase without objection occurs a lot during that as well, when they have to do things. Now, why? And this brings up the issue of, though, well, wait, didn't Obama have like all the people he like? Why doesn't anybody agree to do it in the meantime? Let's say the president controls all of it. Why don't you want to do it all at once? And here's the big issue. Recess appointments are not limited in scope. Once you allow one, there's no limit to it. They can't control it. The authority and power to do recess appointments is expansive. It's massive. The president has, it's like a pardon. It's a plenary power, meaning it's basically unlimited in scope. Remember, you can't pardon an impeachment. Other than that, there's no limits. There's no guardrails. So for the recess appointments, guys, in the recess appointments clause, there's nothing there. There are no guardrails. There are no guardrails. So, let's say you're like, oh, okay, well, I want Marco Rubio to be Secretary of State, but I can't get him in, so I'll let Trump do a recess appointment. Well, that means that but you hate Matt Gaetz. You don't want Matt Gaetz to become Attorney General. You can't do that. You can't parse it out. It's all or nothing. And when you open the doors are open. Who made the gay PowerPoint? I did. Thank you, J-Rock. So once you do it, there's no limit. There's also the idea, as a senator, you have explicit constitutional power, with the advise and consent of the Senate. You have to consent and confirm these nominations and these appointments. You have to confirm them. And you're going to concede that power? I don't know. I mean, remember, that's, you're giving it up. And also remember, once you do this, it's open season. Think about Harry Reid and the nuclear option. Remember, the nuclear option was about invoking cloture on nominations. And when he did that, Mitch McConnell warned him, you're going to fucking rue the day. So guess what? Mitch McConnell did it to SCOTUS picks. That's why the Supreme Court picks got fucking basically ran through. That's why Amy Coney Barrett got basically jammed through at the last second. They set the stage. J-Rock's like, oh, sorry, I thought you got from the internet. No, but I tried to make it as bare bones as I could. So there are a lot of issues here. There are a lot of considerations, guys. So it's not just the constitutional things, but it's power structures and power brokering. Are you really, even if you're a Republican senator, are you really going to yield all that power to the president? You're a fucking senator. You're really just going to give it up like that? I don't think you are. I mean, what are you, his bitch? So we will see. We will see. Now, there are other options, though. There are other things Trump can do. And there's another option. It's called the Federal Vacancies Reform Act. It allows Trump to fill all vacant offices with acting officers on January 20, the first day. He can have them going. And somebody has to run the agencies. And somebody has to fill a lot of these positions because government needs to run. Acting officers have an administration at the beginning of a 300-day time limit. Now, there's a neat thing that happens. Once a nomination is made, the time limit stops. So you could go past 300 days as long as there's a nomination being considered by the Senate. There are limits to this. There are some limits. You can't double dip as a Vacancy Act official and be a nominee. So, for example, you can't appoint Matt Gaetz and then nominate him. You're not allowed to do that. The only exception is you already have to be a serving deputy attorney general, deputy NLRB commissioner, deputy director of the FBI, deputy director of the CIA, deputy secretary of Health and Human Services, undersecretary of State. You have to be in that pipeline already. And then you can do that. But that's not going to happen here. But there are limits to the people in the Vacancies Reform Act anyway. Deputies of an agency can move up. So you can bump up the next guy in line. You can use somebody who's already been confirmed by the Senate for a different job. and you can put him in there. Also somebody who has the highest levels of senior experience in the civil side of it, which is called the Senior Executive Service, the SES. You have to have people who have been at the higher levels of things. So you can't just take fucking Bob the janitor and say you're head of the NLRB now, or you're head of the CIA now. Like, you can't do that. It doesn't work that way. You have to allow. What's the problem? What's with the pronouncement of Matt Gaetz? I thought it was Getz. I don't know. I don't fucking know. I don't know. The Senior Executive Service needs to go. Yeah, well, yes. Ted gave you so Nick can't run the DEA. Correct. 100%. Greg McNeely. Hi, Greg. He's got a question here. It says, how does Obama's failed 9-0 decision and recess appointments differ from Trump's? Well, I mean, it's setting the stage for what you can do and what you can't do. So we're going to find out how this is going to shake out. It's just merely laying out what's going to happen here. Because what are the rules? I mean, do people know the rules? And part of this is educating you guys what the rules actually are. They have to be part of that chain of command to an extent. Yeah, you can't just let, like, they couldn't just appoint me to go run the EPA because, like, I'm not a deputy. I haven't already been doing it before. Like, the idea is you would have the Federal Vacancies Act. You've got caretakers there who can kind of run the organization and keep it moving so it doesn't, like, explode and nosedive. Well, you can't, like, if you threw me into the EPA, I'd fucking crash into the ground. Intentionally, yes. But that's the idea of why they don't allow you just to put yahoos in. So. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I had to be part of the EPA. I had to be part of that chain. Yes, any one of us could do a better job than most of them. I don't disagree with you, but that's the rules. That's the rules, guys. Them's the rules. Roosevelt Media is saying, so could Trump put his nominees in position, submit their nominations, and wait? No, he can't do that. This last part down here, he cannot do that. You cannot do that. This part here, you can't double dip unless you're already part of the organization. So going back to that. So, for example, we use Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio cannot be put in there as the Secretary of State vacancy filler and also be nominated. He already had to have been serving as a deputy for at least 90 days. It's the only way he can do it. So let's say Trump was moving into a friendly Republican administration. They could theoretically allow that and work it out to happen where Marco Rubio, like, immediately, there was a way to make him a deputy that didn't require confirmation, maybe. But ultimately, at the end of the day, there's not really a way to do that. So you can't double dip. You either are going to be the seat filler or you're going to be the nominee unless you're already part of the organization. There's a limit. There's a limit. Tony says, I didn't see you at Stoney's. I know. Well, it's not yet. 10KV says, Brandon cannot run the ATF. He can't be the vacancy filler, but he could be nominated as director of the ATF. That's a separate thing, guys. So you need to look at this as two separate things. And you either can do the vacancies, you can be in charge for the Vacancies Reform Act, or you could be the nominee. You can't be both. You can't be both, okay? You have to be one or the other. Brandon Herrera can be the nominee. He can't be the vacancy filler. So he's going to have to be the nominee. He can get nominated. That's the idea. That's the idea. So at that point, Trump can nominate whoever he wants. And if the Senate confirms him, they can nominate Joe Shit the Ragman to be director of the ATF. So let me see here. I hope that in I hope that answers your question, 10K, because I understand it's a little confusing. I understand it's a little confusing. Well, Roosevelt, he can't. Matt Gaetz doesn't have any of those positions. He wasn't a deputy in the DOJ. He doesn't have prior cabinet experience. And he's not a member of the senior executive service. He's in the House. He wouldn't qualify. Yeah, like I said, I could get Brandon's job done in 10 days because I'll get the ATF building raised from the earth. Kat says, what if Matt Gaetz orders something at Denny's? Has he ever ordered at Denny's? Very good point. Very good point. Because he will be the top cop, basically, in America. Yeah, the fight starts at about 11, guys. So we got a little more to get to here. A little more to get to. Stephen Cooper says, you have a Netflix, turn it on, one more fight before Tyson versus Paul. Yes. Amateur Iconoclast says, this is why I never bought the whole millions of fraudulent ballot argument. You'll need thousands. Yeah. If you guys really want to see things, go look back at like the Nixon, Kennedy-Nixon race in 1960. A handful of votes would have changed Illinois. It wasn't very many, and that would have changed the election, very likely. So it doesn't take many votes. Doesn't take many votes. Snoop STP says Trump thought the deep state would roll over in 2016. After he won, he said the Clintons are basically good people. Do you think he still believes that now? I think that was a humbling for him, that I think he understood he wasn't the baddest bitch on the block, and I think he understands that now. That doesn't mean he can't be the meanest bitch on the block or the strongest bitch on the block. But yeah, I think he had to get humbled, and I think it's a good thing for him to get humbled. Swizgar says, also back then, your congressman was not your occupation. Yes. Yes, as I kind of joked, your congressman had to go home and get pelted with, tomatoes or tarred and feathered. Midnight XL says, as reckless as Trump is, he's also very careful. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. And I think he's more careful now. But we'll find out. And hi, Will Call. How are you doing? So, there is one more thing with this, and we need to get to it. And I don't want to finish. And I hope it makes sense, guys. There are limits to this Vacancies Act. And there are limits to recess appointments. They're both limited. It's not as wide open as both sides make you think. There's another off-the-wall option. It's the president adjourning Congress. Now, this is Article 2, Section 3. And this is where it's in case of disagreement between both houses, with respect to the time of adjournment, the president may adjourn them to such time as he shall think proper. Now, we don't really know how this would work. But a lot of people think this applies to when the president convenes Congress. And he brings them out of recess. And then if they can't agree to quit, he can tell them to go home. Now, we don't know for sure what that means. And I don't know if Trump would try that, but he could. We'll see. Like, theoretically, he could. He could. But we don't know yet. We don't know yet. So it doesn't. We don't know for sure. We don't know for sure. So we don't truly know. We don't truly know at this point. They have are you an actual Italian? I don't know what would be good on the Stonies menu right now. Mike says, how could the president send Congress home, though? Doesn't that violate the separation of powers? Well, remember, the president has the ability to convene Congress. And once again, I think if you were to get to the Supreme Court looking at this, they're going to say this goes back to when Congress was out and about scattered to the four winds for the summer. The president could send out notice. I'm convening Congress for an issue. Like, let's say war was happening and he needed Congress to be involved. He could convene Congress. Well, once he convenes them, he would have the authority to adjourn them. Otherwise, it's not like it's not like you're the emperor and you're like, I dissolve the Senate. It's not like that. But this kind of goes back to those old anachronistic powers. But we don't know how they play out because it never became an issue. So that's why we're a little. And Roosevelt says, so Trump could get Mike Johnson to call for a recess. Could Trump demand it? We don't know. We don't know. We are getting into uncharted territory about, like, the Constitution's an instruction manual. We don't know what happens if you do this. Is the Supreme Court going to say it's good, or are they going to go no? Or are they going to say, like, well, we don't know the answer to that question. And that's where it's going to get very interesting. Like I said, guys, we live in some interesting fucking times. We live in some truly interesting times. So we will find out. Tony Galati says an actual Italian from Milan. I don't know what would be good there. Just tell them and they'll take care of you. Will Reed says this isn't 1789 for fuck's sake, but here's the problem. If there's no case law on it and we don't know what it says, how do you know what it means? Both sides can have a fair argument about when to deal with it. Like, you're kind of screwed when it comes to that. Like, yes, I agree. But there's an argument saying, what does that actually mean? We don't know. Yeah, our future lands, yes. Yeah. So we just don't know. We just don't know. And it's going to be very interesting going forward. I mean, these are novel legal issues, and that's a big problem. You know, a novel legal issue can be a problem. Do I think Trump's going to lose in a PA recount? No. I don't see that happening, but I can see that tipping the scales in the Senate race. Plus, as American democracy is kind of stuck in its infancy. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, nobody's done it like this. So it's not even its infancy. It's just a lot of these ideas. Fallen Preacher says, I don't have time to read a novel. Yeah. So. Kat says, the Constitution is written to be a constant. Yes, but we don't know what these things mean yet. What does this mean? What does it allow for? I don't know. Once again, we've got to figure it out. And we don't know. We're like that black guy in we're like that black guy in Dirty Harry. I gots to know. But because we don't know. Trump sends Congress home saying I'm taking over the government. Yeah, well. Yes, Anubis, that's actually very true. My one of my professors in college, he says, the Declaration of Independence reads like poetry. The Constitution reads like an instruction manual. And it's very true. The Constitution is basically an instruction manual. And it's got limits on, like, you know, if the guy who was writing it hadn't thought that far ahead, you're like, well, what the fuck does that mean? Oh, put it together, see if it works. Let me see here. What are you guys saying? Patty says, don't eat meat. It's Friday. Be Catholic. Yes, thank you, Patty. The Constitution can be amended, but is done judiciously and with great effort. Yes. Day says, I'm in the UK and I have to think hard every time before I press send. The thought camera is real. Yeah. Yep. Kay says, why can't there be a time limit on the Senate concurrence or the recess? I mean, there's you're asking questions we don't know the answers to. Why can't you? Well, some of this stuff hasn't been litigated yet. So, but this is where lawyers get to do their thing. Yeah, untested doesn't mean unconsidered. Yes, but the Federalist Papers do play a role in that, but still, the Supreme Court's going to have to take a chance and figure things out. It's probably going to happen, guys. So, yes, who is El Barto? So, like I said, guys, there's a lot of issues. We don't know the answers to all this stuff. Roosevelt News says, thanks for answering all my questions. I finally understand. If Trump tries to recess Congress, it'll be just like the Pence card debacle. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be there's gonna be all kinds of issues of what are the real limits of power. We're gonna find out. I have the Supreme Court's gonna have to do some emergency rulings. Maybe an oral argument. They're gonna have to belt and shit out left and right. There's gonna be like I said, guys. This is going to be a July. It's gonna be like World War I, the July crisis. Ferdinand's dead. The Archduke Franz Ferdinand is dead. In June, end of June. July was how? Oh my God! Can we derail the train of war? And everything that happened. I kind of get the feeling we're going to have like a December crisis. We're probably going to have a January crisis. You know what? If it's wrong, great. But we are coming like we got forces that are going to collide. We are getting to the point where it's going to happen. So, yeah. But I hope I answered your questions. And Tony Galati says, what's your best Ace Combat final mission stunt? I'm still kind of partial to Fires of Liberation because of the fighting the railgun. And you have to fly down the railgun. You just have to do it at full speed. But I also still like it at the beginning of the mission where the girl's like, "Be careful, everybody," and everybody gets shot down in the process. But I do like it. Tim out here sounding like Tim Pool. I'd like to think I'm an educated Tim Pool. I'm not saying there's going to be shooting in the streets, but we're going to see lawfare go down. Besides, you tell Timmy, get somebody on there. Get someone on there who knows what they're doing. So, I'm clickbait blackpilling. Oh, stop it, J-Rock. And anyways, we're going to move on to the last thing. And this one, I know people were kind of like, what does this actually mean? And if you're not familiar with European politics, there's a problem. There's a problem. And it's the idea of a shadow government. Now, I know when you think of a shadow government, you think of like the X-Files and the cigarette smoking man and, maybe the Bilderbergs and all that. And Alex Jones, when he's fighting all the globalists, he's going to take care of all the globalists, defeat the shadow government. That's a thing. That's a thing. But typically in the British government, and this isn't a parliamentary system, it's known as like the Westminster system, you have a shadow government. Okay? And you have, a prime minister has a cabinet. And it's because in Britain, you have what are called the loyal opposition. So when you're not the prime minister, you have a counterpart. Okay. And this is why we're going to start with this. And I'm just going to do this because it breaks it down in the list. Okay. So for example, where's it? Hold on here. United Kingdom. So you have what's called the official opposition shadow cabinet. And the way it works is, so for example, Kimi Badenoch, She is the leader of the opposition. Her counterpart is, Oi, Prime Minister. So she is the leader of the opposition. And what she does is when she's out there and the Prime Minister fucks up or does something, she could say, look, if we were in charge, we wouldn't have fucked that up. We could do better. We have better ideas. The next guy down, the Chancellor of the Exchequer. This is basically the Secretary of the Treasury. So Mel Stride could go up and say, hey, look, I could do a lot better than this guy. I have better fiscal policy. The Shadow Secretary of State for Foreign and Commonwealth Affairs, Priti Patel. This is the Secretary of State. And she could say, I have better foreign policy than this guy. There's the Home Secretary. It's kind of like the Ministry, the Secretary of the Interior. But he could say, I got better plans than this guy. The Secretary of State for Defense, the Minister of Defense. They have all these things. The Secretary of State for Justice. It's kind of like the Attorney General. And now they have like a million different fucking things here. But this is how it works for, look at all the shit they have. You could have a Secretary for Education, Transport, blah, 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 blah. Also, I'm not going to lie. This is really fucking creepy. The Minister of State for Security. That just seems weird. Anyway, that's what they do. Okay? So what they do is they go into the press. And let's say for example, right now, the current Health and Human Services Director, Javier Becerra, the former Attorney General of California, does a policy. RFK, Trump would have, if this is a shadow government like in Britain, RFK would be able to say, and he would say, we disagree. We think he's full of shit. We could do it better. We could do all those things. It's meant for that type of government. But all you're doing is voicing opposition. You're going to the public. You're trying to get the public to say, look, because you're constantly campaigning. Because eventually, if you could get a vote of no confidence in the government, boom, you're into elections. But you're only going after public opinion. So he's like a CNN talking head. Basically, he doesn't have any authority. So all you can do is go around and show the world, hey, look, we wouldn't fuck this up. We're better than them. Put us back in power. We'll kick ass. That's what they're meant to do. Sorry, guys. Well, Mike says to lose the media access. Well, yeah, but they're out there, it's imagine if every cabinet office there was out there somebody dogging them exactly every minute of every day. When you're the shadow member, that's your job, is like your counterpart, and you're like zoomed in on them all the time. Now, that's all you're meant to do. You critique them. Like, I don't like this. I wouldn't do this. I would do something different. But what we're seeing now is some crazy shit going down. And the idea that this is kind of being proposed. This is not, I don't like this. This is Congressman Wiley Nickel. He's promoting the idea of a shadow cabinet now. We ain't built like that, chat. We ain't built like that. Okay? This ain't how it works. You know what, Jefferson? You got it right. The shadow government are parliamentarian A-logs. Yes. Yes. The Right Honorable Shadow A-logs of Her Majesty's Parliament. Oh my God, that's good. That is beautiful. Oh my God, that is it. Yes. May it please, The A-logs. May it please the Speaker, most honorable Speaker, I would like to say the opposition. Fuck you. Oh, that would be great. That would be great. Oh. Guys, we're about to finish up here. Oh. Debbie says, what we need a whole constitution to do this? Not necessarily, because it's not. It's just fucking weird. It doesn't work. It doesn't work like this. But just listen to this guy. Listen to what he wants to do. This is fucking insane.
If Trump attempts to weaponize the justice system against his political opponents with Matt Gaetz at the helm, we could see incoming Senator Adam Schiff as our shadow attorney general, arguing against replacing our independent prosecutors with Trump loyalists. If Trump seeks to eliminate the Department of Education, Congresswoman Johanna Hayes, a former Teacher of the Year, could step up as shadow education secretary to loudly defend public education in the United States.
And so far, that's not a problem. You could designate somebody to say, he's the designated A-log for Matt Gaetz. Matt Gaetz. He could be the designated A-log. That's not a problem. That's actually not an issue. Say, hey, Adam Schiff, your job's to write his ass. That's not illegal. But from here, it becomes an issue.
If Trump orders Marco Rubio to hand Ukraine and much of Eastern Europe to Russian President Vladimir Putin, Congressman Greg Meeks, as Shadow Secretary of State, could be a strong voice in support of maintaining international relationships and protecting democracy at home and abroad. Senator Michael Bennet, as Shadow Treasury.
Now it becomes an issue if he's running around fucking with international relations. That's a Hatch Act issue.
Treasury Secretary. Congresswoman Susan DelBene, as Shadow Commerce Secretary, could help ensure the middle class and small businesses have a voice in government and call out Trump's proposed tax cuts for billionaires and corporations. As Shadow Defense Secretary, Congressman Adam Smith, a great representative for the people of Washington and not a Fox News host, could counter Trump's threat to use military force against his political opponents and work to ensure that the Department of Defense stays loyal to the Constitution.
That right there is the problem. That right there is the problem. There's nothing wrong with saying, fuck him, we don't like it, Orange Man bad, Triple Hitler. Ah! You can do all that. You can do all that. But this is insurrection. This is subverting government. This is sedition, I would argue. Undermining the military chain of command. Okay, God, I gotta answer. Robin, yes. The Shadow Department of Energy. I don't think that would work. God damn, you guys. Yeah, that would be really kind of embarrassing. I work for the Shadow Energy Department. Shadows don't make energy. There's no energy in a shadow. Yes, it's the Shade Energy Department. It's like, what? How does that work? Ag says these are all Hatch Act issues. Well, yeah, you're getting there, but, there's Logan Act problems. But this is, dim lights. Lol. Shadow the Energy Hog, yes. Yes, Department of A-Logs. Well, yes, that's the Doge Department. No, we need to spend more money. More money. Yes. Department of Shadow banning. Yeah, there's a lot of separation of powers issues here, too. I don't disagree.
Constitution and not some wannabe dictator. And Senator Tammy Duckworth could argue against cuts to the Department of Veterans Affairs that would delay the benefits and care our service members have so rightly earned.
You can already do all this. You can argue against it on the floor of the fucking Congress. You already have that ability. That's the bigger thing here. All this shit you want to do is say, oh, these guys all suck. You can already do this. There is, you don't need, there's no official cabinet. You could come out every day and say Matt Gaetz fucking sucks at his job. You could say Pete Hegseth sucks at his fucking job. I would do it better. Like this, you already have this ability. We are not a Westminster style parliamentary system.
If Trump hands over the EPA to big oil ally Lee Zeldin, we could see Congresswoman Kathy Castor pushing back for environmental protection and conservation to protect the air we breathe and the water we drink. And if Trump pushes to ban abortion nationwide, Congresswoman Rosa DeLauro could step in as Shadow Secretary of Health and Human Services to defend women's right to choose and argue against the gutting of Medicare by Trump and his cronies. Mr. Speaker, new times require new solutions. The shadow cabinet isn't just about opposing extreme MAGA attacks on our government. It's also about making clear what we stand for, not just what we're against.
So there you go. They're delusional as hell. But here's the thing. They already can do all of this. You already could do all of this. You're in fucking Congress. You can have Tammy Duckworth ride somebody's ass the whole time. You can have Adam Schiff ride someone's ass the whole time, saying, I do it better, I do it better. But, yeah, this is stuff you could already do to an extent. Oh, this is, but like I said, chat, we are getting to the point where things are starting to step up. We are getting to the point where things are starting to step up, guys. Remember I told you that, we could have a July crisis. Mike Tyson's showing his ass on TV. Well, I mean, he's an old man. He got a good ass, I guess. I don't know. What does it look like? Why limit it to one person with a title? That's just dumb on their part. Yeah, but it kind of goes back to, like, you can make some arguments like Alinsky-style politics. You're kind of focusing things a little bit. Why not have the whole Senate ride Rubio's ass? Yeah, I don't know. They're not smart. They're not sending their best. Yes, Tammy Duckworth could take a stand for... Oh, wait, she can't. Yeah, she ain't got no legs! She was a helicopter pilot in the Army, and she... I think she got shot down and lost her legs. Her legs don't work no more. Adam says July crisis. I touched on this before. The July crisis after Franz Ferdinand was assassinated, the war didn't start till August. August 1st. In between that and July, there was attempts to de-escalate the situation. It was called the July crisis at that point. Like, oh my God, we got to fucking stop the war from happening. It failed. December is going to be a crisis. We're going to have it's going to be a constitutional crisis. I have a feeling coming. We are. It's going to get interesting, guys. It's going to get interesting. Yes, we have sedition laws. Yes. Remember all the January 6th guys getting charged with sedition. Tyson might be jinxed now to lose. That Drake bet on him and John Jones to win this weekend. Oh, no. Nicholas Credit says, holy shit, you were born on a landmine. Yeah. Pay says she lost her legs fighting for the Jews. Well, yeah, kind of. The Willie Nicky telegrams are good reading. Yeah. But all the mechanisms of the Great War were in motion. Yes, by late July, the German general staff had already started to we're going to mobilize. And once they make that decision, once the army's mobilized, that was it. Like the German army, once it mobilized for the Schlieffen Plan, the order went out. There was no turning back. You couldn't stop the army at that point. Tammy stumping for the Dems. Oh, no. No. PPP bet on Jake Paul. Thank God. So. So, like I said, guys, it's only we are escalating. Think about that. Would you have ever thought this was going to happen before? No, we are in uncharted territory. Now, it's all silliness, but it's still uncharted, guys. We got to get ready. This is Yeah, apparently Netflix is crashing and burning right now. So, it's apparently it's having problems. We'll see. So, it's going, but the other fight's still going, chat. My Netflix is fine, but showing cat fight. Yeah. Yes, the Democrats start opening threads on the farms. Basically, it's kind of what they're like. It sounds like that, but you know what they're going to do? They're going to start interfering. They're going to start interfering. They're going to start working with civil service employees, which is going to be. And if you guys understand the Hatch Act is federal civil service employees cannot engage in political activity. So the congressmen can do all the fuck they want. But if like Yahoos in the Department of Agriculture, Health and Human Services, DOD, start interacting with them and they start plotting and planning, that's Hatch Act violations. Those are illegal. It's a big fucking problem. That's not your boss. Your boss is Donald fucking Trump. So yeah, we run into a lot of issues here. Sleazy says they're literally forming a second government to undermine the elected government. Sounds like sedition to me. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Fucking gas up the helicopters and send JSOC out. Fucking green light raids everywhere. Brooks Euchre says, how close to midnight are we? I don't think we're there yet. I'm not going to tell you it's 11:59. We're not. But time when it comes close, we might somebody might hit fast forward. Right now, we're not there. We're not there yet. But it's just people are trying shit we've never dealt with, man. Are we going to get to watch together in locals? I got to see if I can find our password for Netflix and set it up, but maybe not. We might have to watch on our own. Oh. Trump warned he will fire and prosecute. Yeah. But you know what? You know what they're going to say in the meantime? I fucking dare you. Do it, bitch. And Trump's going to have to do it. We'll see what happens. Oh. Yeah, they're just skipping the elector scheme and assuming they're the government. Yep. I don't disagree. All right, J-Rock. Well, let's get it done, homie. People are trying shit and they should be charged with trying. Well, they're kind of getting there. Yes, Steve Bannon is at Mar-a-Lago, and that makes me feel better. Steve Bannon is getting ready to fucking just fucking crush people. Crush people. So, guys, this is the update for right now. Like I said, we're not doing this every day. If you guys are new, my name's Sean, also known as Potentially Criminal. I am an attorney out in Cleveland, Ohio. We normally cover criminal topics. But we're getting to the lawfare now. I told you guys it was coming. Get ready. There are going to be some shots fired soon. Jefferson Post says, will the shadow government be formed south of the Mason-Dixon line? Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. So, yeah, Bannon sharpening the sword. Yep. Yes, he is. Yeah, Bannon's a knob. Well, that knob got Trump in office the first time, so there you go. Sean Cast IRL. Yep. That's it. Get a hold of Timmy. Get a hold of Tim Pool. Like, you got Nick Reichardt on, Tim. You can get some real legal opinion on. We can talk about what happens. Yeah, the real shot missed, so now they got to pull out the lawfare. Yeah, you got it. They missed. They took a shot at the king, and it didn't work. They couldn't kill him. You know, they ain't found a way to kill him yet, and they can't stop, They want to stop the rooster, but they can't because he ain't never going to die. Tim is almost the same age as me. Yeah, I'm old. Tim is a little older than me. So, yeah, sounds like the first step of a coup. Oh, it is. It can be. That's why it's got to get stopped right now. We can't tolerate this. So, that's it, chat. He's also balder than me, yeah. But we are getting to the point, chat. It's getting intense out there. And yeah, so that's it. But guys, if you like this, please like and subscribe. We got more stuff coming. And remember, until next time, God bless America and long live the Republic. Good night, chat. And you know what? I think we might have to end on... should we end on the intro? I don't know how to end this tonight. But... yeah. He said the other thing. Don't like or subscribe. Please like or subscribe. Like, long live the Emperor of Mankind, yes. But good night, chat. I will see you guys over on Locals. Potentiallycriminal.locals.com. See you guys there. Good night, everybody. Don't doom. Just be ready. Just be ready, chat. It's not the time for fear yet. It's not the time for fear.